Hey, brothers and sisters in Christ. I just wanted to encourage you today with this thought. Don't give up on the sixth. See, there's this passage in James chapter 5 and verse 17 to 18 where it talks about the faith of Elijah. And it says, Elijah was a man just like us. He prayed earnestly that it would not rain, and it did not rain on the land for 3.5 years. Again he prayed, and the heavens gave rain, and the earth produced its crops. You know what's interesting is when Elijah prayed earnestly that it would not rain, and it did not rain for 3.5 years, 1 Kings chapter 17 and verse 1 tells us that all he had to do was declare it once, pray once, and there was no rain for 3.5 years. The Lord answered his prayer the first time. But what's amazing is that when Elijah prayed again for the heavens to open up, to give rain, in 1 Kings chapter 18, verses 44 to 46, it actually tells us that he had to pray 7 times. We see here in 1 Kings chapter 18, starting in verse 43, Elijah said to his servant, "Go and look towards the sea." And the servant went up and looked. "There is nothing there," he said. 7 times Elijah said, "Go back." The 7th time the servant reported, "A cloud as small as a man's hand is rising from the sea." You know, Elijah just beforehand got down on his knees and prostrated himself to God with his head between his knees. And imagine if Elijah gave up on the 6th attempt. The 6th time he told the servant to go and look, and the servant saw nothing. Imagine if Elijah had given up then. He would have missed out on God doing the miracle. And so I wanted to encourage you with this thought. Don't give up on the 6th. You know, we see the same theme in the book of Joshua, chapter 6, when Joshua was leading Israel into the promised land and they were at Jericho. And we pick it up in verse 2 of Joshua chapter 6. And it says, "Then the Lord said to Joshua, 'See, I have delivered Jericho into your hands, along with its king and its fighting men. March around the city once with all the armed men. Do this for 6 days. Make 7 priests carry trumpets of ram's horns in front of the ark. On the 7th day, march around the city 7 times, with the priests blowing the trumpets. When you hear them sound a long blast on the trumpets, make all the people give a loud shout. Then the wall of the city will collapse, and the people will go up, every man straight in.'" Notice God gave instruction to Joshua to command the people of Israel to walk around Jericho for 6 days. And then on the 7th, they were to walk around 7 times and blow the horns and give a loud shout for the Lord, and the walls would come crashing down. But what's interesting in this story in chapter 6 is that we're never told that Joshua told the people these instructions that he received from the Lord. So imagine each day Joshua commanded the people to go and march around the city once and then come back, and nothing happened. And the 2nd day, the 3rd day, the 4th day, for 6 days, Israel were told to march around Jericho, and yet nothing happened, not even 1 brick falling from the walls. Imagine if Israel had given up on the 6th day, thinking, "Joshua, why do you keep telling us to walk around the walls?" From an army and a warfare point of view, it's a silly thing to do. You know, what would have been wise was them to build catapults or machinery or weapons to try and bring down the wall. And yet, notice day after day, Israel walked around the walls of Jericho by faith at Joshua's instructions, And the seventh day, when they walked around 7 times and gave a great shout to the Lord, the walls came crashing down. Now imagine if Israel had given up on the 6th day. They would have missed out on the miracle that God was wanting to do in bringing down the walls of Jericho. And so I wanted to encourage you with this thought. Don't give up on the 6th. You know how many of us have been persevering in prayer for God to bring about, whether it's a miracle in your life or for Him to intervene in your situation and circumstance, and you felt like giving up on the 6th day. You've persevered and you feel like you've been persevering for so long and it looks like God is doing nothing. Can I encourage you? Don't give up on the 6th. Keep persevering. Keep trusting that in God's perfect timing, Jesus will intervene in your situation and circumstance and bring about that miracle and that intervention that you're believing for. Keep believing. Keep trusting God, even when your eyes tell you something different. Even when your eyes tell you that it looks like God is doing nothing. Will you keep trusting the Lord at His word, that He is faithful to His word and faithful to intervene in your situation and circumstance? Don't give up on the 6th. God bless.